Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Jeff Heilman Project. I'm Jessica Heilman, and seated next to me, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, is...
That would be me.
Jeff Heilman, the one and only. You know, Jeff, this project, the Jeff Heilman Project...
Are we at 150? Did we get to 150, Andrew?
Yeah, almost. I think we're at like 496 or something.
Okay, we are almost at our 150th episode, and it can be challenging to come up with
Oh,
something new.
yes, this is 150. I thought you were talking about subscribers.
150.
Woo! Hey, guys, we made it. Well, welcome to our 150th episode. We've gone through various different iterations of the Jeff Heilman Project. We have guests. Some weeks we don't have guests. Some weeks we talk about marriage, relationships.
We've actually had a lot of
kids.
guests.
We've
probably
quite a
had
few.
like 20 or 30.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but I mean, we had Christopher Johnson on health. We had Michelle Trail on excellence in coaching young people dealing with finances.
We had Rob Angel, author of
Rob
Game
Angel,
Changer, creator of Pictionary.
who is working. It's public about it, but I think he's working on a movie.
Well, he's been shopping the screenplay at Cannes for his book to become a movie. Which, you know, with who he knows, I wouldn't be surprised if some A-listers were in it.
I was fortunate in 2017 when I went down there for Secret Knock and met Rob and the founder of UGG Boots and Richard Dreyfuss and all these great actors and people in the creative space that were doing all kinds of cool stuff. There were crypto coin people. There were people that did watches. There were people that did suits and made $1 million a year doing one thing. There was a private screening at Secret Knock of the story of the
Wishman,
the
cancer,
Wishman, the guy that did the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Yeah, the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Yeah, we've had authors, several book authors, and other coaches, life coaches, other podcasters.
We had guys that coach people in business. We have guys that are small business owners. We had Jeff Bush on here, who was founder of Overflow. Yeah. He built it and sold that a couple of years ago. So, but yeah, in 150 episodes, I guess I was thinking about, because I always try to make sure that I'm rested so I can do the best job for the show that I can. I was thinking about today while I was sleeping how grateful I am that you and Andrew enjoy this, because you guys keep me motivated. I probably would never be able to do this on my own. Like, I just don't care enough to do it every single week, to do all of the work and all of the editing and all of the filming and the lighting and the prep and the scripting and the talking and the audio and the video and the uploads and the reel cutting. Like, the volume of work that Andrew does is just ridiculous. It's probably, what would you say, Andrew, 15 hours a week?
Yeah, it's probably closer to 20.
15 to 20 hours a week to do this podcast, and I'm doing 20 minutes. You know, it's not proportionately aligned. We're creating the content, and granted, you know, I spent 30 years grinding away, working 80 and 100-hour weeks to build businesses so that I had something to feed my kids with, and that has become, you know, hundreds and thousands of stories, which I'm excited to be able to share. But you know, this podcast really is the three of us working together. Jeff with the content from 30 years, you with the prompting and the storytelling and the understanding and color commentary, and Andrew with all of the actual logistics that turn what's in my brain into the content that you're consuming. So at 150 episodes, the biggest thing that I realized is that this is kind of the first really continuous project other than just making children and feeding them and getting them to the beach and sustaining life. Like, this is the first like group project that we've worked on for this long, and it's like over 3 years to be able to get to 150 episodes. And I was also thinking about a friend of mine who said, you know, you're going to do 20 podcasts and it's going to be great, and then you're going to do like your next 50 and they're just going to suck, and you're going to be like, oh my God, this is so hard. Why do we keep doing this? And then he said somewhere they're going to click over and it's just going to get into a rhythm and it's going to be something that you do. So we've clicked over and it's something that we do. And I think we still have, 300 followers now?
We're almost at 500.
Almost at 500 followers. You know, that's organic growth in the organicest way because we don't run ads against this. But at the same time, I also feel like our kids have a permanent video archive, which is the whole reason we started the podcast in the first place, was to create the best semblance of who Jeff and Jessica Heilman are as parents for our kids, so that if we got hit by a bus by tomorrow, our kids could spend time with us even after we're gone.
Yes, and we have tried to do our best to remember the stories, bring them up. I'm every week that we come in here, some of the weeks we've had outlined beforehand of what we're going to talk about. And some of the weeks we just come in and we just sit down, like today. Like we're just sitting down, chatting and talking about whatever's on our heart. And it's not always easy to be creating new content every single week. But it seems like as soon as we sit down and as soon as, like you said, we get into that rhythm, then we're definitely able to talk. And Andrew always prompts us, just forget about the show. Forget that there's even cameras rolling and just get talking, because people are interested to see. I mean, we are going to be celebrating our 30th wedding anniversary in July, in about a month or two, well, like a month and a half. And having been together for as long as we've been together, we definitely have our own way of communicating. We definitely have come together in finding a pattern and able to read each other. I think that I would love to be able to encourage anyone who's maybe 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road that you would continue to hang in there, because it does become more and more
married if you can.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people have a lot of trouble with it. My parents had horrible troubles with it multiple times in multiple marriages, and it was hard being in the ecosystem of parents that had difficult marriages. But God, if you can stick it out.
And that goes along with what was really on my heart this morning about what we were talking about, that the key to advancing in anything is to learn how to successfully retreat. You would think that if you want to take ground and if you want to grow and if you want to expand, that you would continue to grind and just take as much as you possibly can, when the reality of a truly successful, long-lasting relationship, situation, employment is to retreat when it comes to needing to know when to go for more wisdom, go for more rest, take the downtime necessary, be able to put yourself in your own oxygen mask on first, and the power that comes from being able to retreat, and the result of being advancement and growth and more success. It's not quitting doing the work and doing nothing. It's remaining disciplined when you are not doing the work to continue to seek out wisdom and understanding so that you can be the best version of yourself that you possibly can be. You need to be able to take the time to sharpen the sword in order to use it, because if you just go around using your blade, it will eventually become dull or cracked, or it will become ineffective. You have to go back to the forge. You have to go back to where you can sharpen it. You have to go back to where you can heat it, sharpen it, reshape it, so that you can get back and continue to battle.
I want to bring up something. Your weight loss journey, you have had ups and downs.
Absolutely.
For lack of a better term. You had a goal, I think a year and a half. Was it 2 years ago in November that you went to Paris?
Yes.
You set a goal, I think, in February to be at a certain weight in Paris. And
we were going in November. I think we were going around Thanksgiving.
And you lost 40 pounds that year.
Yeah.
And did really, really good, and got me thinking about food and diet, because really in the universe of weight loss, it really does seem that in the kingdom of weight loss, that diet is king and that exercise is queen. It's really what you put in your body.
Well, they say that the diet is what's going to cause you to lose weight, and that the working out is what causes you to shape it.
To shape it, yes.
Your working out is what will give you the tone or untoned.
and then, over being around me when I was at Sovos was probably pretty difficult. And I know that I was not an easy person to be around. I'm probably still not at times. But you
Yes, I gained weight again.
Went back up a bit.
I gained weight
and,
again.
And you started coming back down. And I learned something from you with regard to your the bicycle Peloton. Mm-hmm. And you've got it set up in an area where I can't hear it. Like, I know you're on it because, I know that's what you do at that time of day. But you taught me that exercise was not for you to lose weight. It was for you to get rid of stress.
Yes, it's stress management.
It's stress management, and which is cardio as mental toughness for that aspect of it. And for those of you, we talked about quantum influence for me, and how quantum influence is 3 pillars, 3 anchors, and an X factor. One of the pillars is the cube, and the cube is the x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. Times T times C, the x-axis being recovery, and there's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual recovery. But from a physical recovery standpoint, you've been doing the bike like 3-4 days a week.
I think.
Aren't you? Or are you doing 5 days a week?
I do every day. I'm on 50 days streak. I have a
50 days in a row
of
doing 5 miles or 10 miles on the bike?
Between 5 and 10.
Yeah.
Well, it's about 7.
Yeah.
Between 7.
And I've seen you kind of go from, stressed to kind of more depressed from being exhausted, I guess you could say, to now you're kind of normalized, and you just seem balanced and calm, and your work ethic has always been admirable. I think it's kind of embarrassing sometimes, to be honest, because I just lie around in bed all day and do nothing. At times. Now, I go out and slay dragons also, which takes full exertion and weightlifting and strength training and all those other things. But those battles are not like farming. You're more like farming. Mm-hmm. And you farm every day and you do stuff every day. But your energy management, because of the time on the bike, I think, has been really good. And, why do we talk about health? Why do we talk about exercise? Because at the end of the day, life is about energy management. You don't even have energy. You have energy divided by time.
Yeah.
So it's not about time management. It's about energy management. We talk about time management because it's so pervasive in the corporate life, but time management has almost nothing to do with nothing. It has nothing to do with nothing. It is energy management, and that's it. Because when you have a lot of energy and you focus that energy like a beam, like a magnifying glass for sunlight, you can get to killing some ants fast, right? And when you don't focus it, you still have the same sun and no popping ants.
I think on the subject of energy management, I think it's important to recognize that we're not talking about giving 50%. We're talking about when you do commit to doing something, giving it 100%, but making sure that what you commit to doing, you either enjoy or you take into consideration how long that thing is going to take you. And then I would rather have you give 100% and commit to something for 5 minutes than to say, well, I'm going to be a successful energy manager and put 20 minutes into
20%
something.
In, yeah.
But I'm only going to do it half. I'm going to half-ass it the whole time because that's me being successful energy manager. No. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is if you feel like you've only got 5 minutes, but you can go do a high intense, they call it a HIIT training session, and you can do, and all you got is 5 minutes, but you're going to be all in and you're going to give it 100% effort. You're going to get 100% back from that 100% effort. And it's so much better to live life in 100% 5-minute increments and then take long breaks in between than it is to do something at 10% and then only get 10% back. So if you can, if the only time that you can do a workout where you're all in and you're excited about it is 10 minutes a day, but you do that 10 minutes a day with everything you got, those 10 minutes will eventually grow and compound and get better and better and better. And it's so much better to do it like that than once a week for an hour, and you're thinking to yourself, well, an hour of workout is better than 10 minutes. Not necessarily, not if you're only given it.
I mean, lifting, I was probably at the gym for, I don't know, a couple hours. I had a couple phone calls come in, a couple fires. I had a fire to put out with Jeffrey. I had a fire to put out with Christopher. I had a fire to put out with the bank. I had a fire on another phone call. I'm trying to think of all the different things that I did. You
were there for a couple hours, but you probably were only able to
But I only lifted. Well, I did 3 sets of squats and 3 sets of dumbbell press. And those sets probably took, like, my total time lifting was probably less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And yet,
as long as you're giving it 100%.
When I gave it everything I had, I am wrecked right now.
Yeah.
I'm super sore. Like, my body, it's a little rough, to be honest. But that's what I have to do. Like, if I want the bone density, the circulatory system, the muscle mass, the testosterone levels, the normalization and reduction of cortisol, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and every other drug we can come up with for natural, dopamine and norepinephrine combinations for attention cocktails in pressure situations. The intensity that you have during those 10 minutes of lifting for those sets, I mean, that does all the work for you, and your body ends up recovering.
If you're properly rested and feel great, there's nothing that feels better than being properly rested, coming right back off of vacation, or whatever it is, having a good night's sleep. You think sharper. And when you think sharper, you're able to execute better. And so when you think sharper and you're able to execute better, then if you only have 10 minutes, you're going to be able to think your way through those 10 minutes better than... I don't want an exhausted heart surgeon. I don't want an exhausted... I don't want somebody doing spinal surgery who's exhausted because they've been given 10% to everything that they could put on their plate, and now they've got their hands in my back. No, I want somebody who's fully rested. I want the doctor that goes on. I want to go. Who's your doctor that's on vacation the most? Who's your doctor? Is there anybody who hasn't done any work this week? Exactly. Who hasn't done any work? You're like, there's something to be said for the ones that have the triage level experience. But if we're going to have somebody who's going to be doing actual applied surgery, I want the person who's going to be the most rested, most chill, most laid back. Maybe I'll go to Hawaii for my surgery. I don't know. I don't need surgery. I'm just saying.
I think that if I'm brutally honest, I think the hardest times that I've had in corporate life is where I'm willing to do whatever it takes and, slit people's throats and spit down their neck and do whatever it has to be done to close a deal. And most people aren't, or at least they don't want to be reminded of the fact that they're not. And I think that when you lead with intensity, it makes it, you're putting the burden in many cases. If you're that screaming evangelist who's just, I was listening to something the other day that was just obnoxious. And it's like you're taking apart what they're saying.
Because they're saying something really good.
And what they're saying is actually really good, but their delivery's like, if I was your mom or your dad, I would not want to be listening to you talk right now because you sound insane. You need to go to therapy and figure out how to deliver your message a little bit better, even though technically the message had merit to it. That level of intensity, if you start with that rather than just just a little bit of air out of the balloon, right?
And I think that when you're properly rested, exactly. When you're properly rested.
How'd you like that for a segue?
When I go to do a project, if I'm whether I'm doing painting something, sewing something, building something, and I'm properly rested, I can look at the angles and I can see right away, that's an unnecessary amount of effort. Like I don't need to cut it this way. I can cut it this way. Or I don't need to they always say let the saw do the work, right? Like I don't need to put so much effort behind the blade when I can just let the blade do the cutting for me. And I can't see those when I'm tired. I cannot see the quote-unquote shortcuts. I cannot see the most effective, efficient way of energy and time when I am not operating at my most effective energy and my most effective use of time. So, speaking of effective use of time and energy and being able to celebrate the 150th episode with just
150.
Hey, what's up, guys? We're actually going to be calling this episode an early one and saying thanks for watching, thanks for following along. Thanks for all of your encouragement. If you have any comments or suggestions, please reach out to us.
If you don't like what we're doing here at the Jeff Heilman Project, keep it to yourself because we're not going to read the
like? What's not to like? We love you guys, and here's to 150,000 more. God bless you, and
hopefully
have an
done by somebody else.
Rest of your week. See you next time.
Thanks.
On the Jeff Heilman Project. Like, share, subscribe, share with your friends, whatever. Sponsor us. Hey, we won't say no.
We won't say no. That's right.
Talk to you later.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.